Okay, JL here. Today we have a Sccy Industries CPX-2. There's been plenty of videos on this, but I wanted to do a little quick one. We're going to clean it today. My wife actually purchased this and absolutely loves it, and it's a great concealed carry. So, Sccy. Very nice. Comes with your manuals, a couple advertisements. Comes with the casing. Make sure you can see that. All right. Comes with an extra magazine. And, of course, the gun itself. Also comes with a couple flat attachments for the two magazines. It comes with a pinky grip already on it, which I actually like. So we're going to set these things aside, and we're going to go through general cleaning. So to take this weapon apart, it is very, very easy. Sccy Industries has made actually quite a nice gun here. It feels good. It feels sturdy, strong, durable. Obviously, we'll see over time. We have put a couple hundred rounds through it. I guess if I had to make a complaint about the gun, it would be the trigger pull is a little, it's a little stiff. I think it's at 10 pounds, 9 pounds. And so it can cause you, if you're not careful, to obviously pull on the trigger and mess up some of your shots. But again, I like it. There is a little bit of play right there in the trigger, but that's okay. The reason why it has such a hard trigger pull is because this is double action only. You can actually see the hammer in there. So, all right, let's get to taking this apart. You want to slide back and lock it up. It's got a little pin here that you can usually put your finger in and pull it out, just like that. Now, I will say that this is I don't know, third time I've cleaned it. She's cleaned it once, so this has been out a few times. The very first time or two, I actually had to use a little screwdriver or the end of a little knife just to get it out where it was new. But anyway, so take your slide pin out, release, and slide back. And there you go. That's all there is to it. Very simple. Take the pin out, the barrel. And that's really all you need to do for cleaning. Now, I am going to mention one thing that concerns me just a little bit about the firearm that I have noticed. It has two pins here. There may be more, I'm not really sure, but I believe it's just these two pins that hold the frame inside the polymer grip. Now, this front one, for some reason, I don't know how well you can see there, starts to come out on me. I'm not sure the reason for that. So occasionally I have to push it back in. Sometimes I just use the end of a knife and just give it a little push. Not really a big deal. It is a little concerning. Again, really nice firearm. Love it for concealed carry. It's just the right size. The warranty on this gun is phenomenal. Basically, it's no questions asked warranty. If anything happens to the gun at all, you know, they will replace it. If you, God forbid, have to use it in a self-defense situation and it gets confiscated, as they usually do during investigation time, then Sccy will send you a gun to use and to keep and carry until you get yours back. So, I mean, that's just phenomenal. All right, so here's some things we need. Let's get on to the cleaning. What we need, okay, we have a rod here with a handle. Okay, we've got a little pick, which don't always necessarily need, and a brush. A little cheap dollar store toothbrush works just fine. I just happen to be using this one right now just because it came with a kit that I ended up having, so I've been using this one a little bit. I usually use just a toothbrush, like I say. We've got a copper brush. Small tip for patches and also for pushing, just straight pushing patches. So what you want to do, well, also what I use is I've got some Remington oil cleaner that I use. Also some Hops number 9 or Hoppies, all depends on how you like to say that. Can't beat that, stuff's just phenomenal. And also from them, lubricating oil. One's kind of a, this is kind of a lubricating oil, and this is more of a cleaner solvent for more heavy duty stuff. Patches. So, well, let's get to it. We're going to take a patch here, and we will run it down the barrel and see how dirty it is. When we went to the range, we put about 100 rounds down through it. So that's where we are right now. And there's many different ways to get your solvent on there, but I like to just dip it, and that's way more than you need. I kind of round the edges there a little bit to get off the excess. Okay. Do not want to go bore first. You want to go through the back side here and run it in and out a few times here. Get that all nice and lubed up. Okay. Once you get it all nice and lubed up like that, what I like to do is to use my copper brush, and this helps get stuff from the rifling out of the barrel. Now, this is by no means a 100% perfect way of cleaning a gun, and may not be the most accurate, but it's the way I take care of it, and it's been working for me for years. So that's all there is to that. We're going to let that soak just a little bit. Also going to use a little cleaner, and we're going to put it on my brush here, and you can just kind of go along the dual springs here. This has a dual spring mechanism, and you just want to make sure you're getting anything out of there that might be in there. You want to keep it clean so that it operates correctly and fouling. Even the little pin. Now, if I'm not going to shoot a gun for a while, I do a real super job cleaning. But for your everyday field strip and cleaning, you know, this is really all there is to it. Other thing I like to use sometime is some Q-tips. So that's nice for getting in here. What we will do is, again, a little cleaner, which I am just dipping. And you just want to get in here and get all over everything. Down where the slide goes. Things like that. You don't have to worry too much about where you get any of this cleaning solvent. It's not going to hurt any of this polymer or anything. Okay. And then sometimes I'll take a Q-tip, either dry or dip it, and get down in there and clean some of this out. As you can see, it gets pretty nasty. So cleaning your firearm after every use is a must, and you need to make sure that it's operational so that when you go to use it, you don't have problems with it. You don't want to be in a self-defense situation and the gun jam up or not work correctly or something to that effect because you haven't cleaned it properly, or you haven't kept it clean. All right, I like to pull the trigger back a little bit so that hammer comes back a little bit, and I also kind of get down in there a little bit too. Now obviously this gun comes apart more than this, but again, this is all you need for your basic field strip and cleaning. You just want to make sure that they're not getting buildup. Okay, you don't need to spend a lot of money and all this stuff on it. You just need to keep the stuff out of it. Okay, so that's really all there is to this cleaning wise. I'm going to set that aside a little bit, and I'm going to, once again, on the thicker part of the brush, we're going to do this a little bit. Make sure that's in pretty good shape. Now another part I like to use a brush and Q-tips is right here on the ends of this here. So we will dip and do a little bit of scrubbing here. This part right here really can get filed up quite well. And this is of course where all your ammunition gets loaded and is fired from this location. So as you know, it can get pretty nasty right there. This is where all the stuff happens. And we'll get her all cleaned out like that. All right. You can even use a Q-tip to do a little more. This is where your pin goes through. Keep everything all cleaned up here. Now that we have run some solvent down through, and we have also with a patch and also sent our brush down through, now we can start taking some patches that I've got here and really start going down through until we get clean patches. Okay, so you just pull that through here, and as you can see, that's pretty nasty. I'll run it down through a couple times and then change out patches. And you're going to do this till you come out with clean patches. And honestly, depending on how much you fired, it really doesn't take that long to end up with a clean patch, unless you haven't cleaned your gun for several uses or it's been sitting there, which is not good for it. You don't want to spend that kind of money on a firearm and not take care of it. As you can see, we're already getting pretty clean here. So, not to mention you don't want it there dirty, and like I said, and not be able to fire it properly when you need to. So, now the only thing we haven't cleaned is the slide itself. Now again, you can use some of the number 9 solvent, but I like to spray this Remington cleaning solution in oil, and you can put the little straw on there and spray it down a little bit. One of the key areas is right in here. This is where the firing pin, the hammer strikes back here, strike and that firing pin forward into the cartridge. So that's going to get pretty nasty. Once again, got your little screwdriver, or screwdriver. Don't use a screwdriver to clean your gun. Get your brush, scrape down in there. And actually, what probably would have been a better idea, of course, was to let this sit while we were doing some of the other stuff, but that's not what we did this time. I have never done a YouTube video before. This video may not even go on YouTube, but this is my first testing of making a video. Let's see how it goes. Maybe someday, if I end up doing this a lot, this will be one of those videos you look back on and be like, oh my god, that was my first video. Can you imagine? So we're going to get her all cleaned up there like that. Now you can use patches to wipe things down. There's nothing wrong with that. But I personally like to use an old washcloth, rag, something like that to wipe things down with. Okay, so we're gonna wipe these things down. And what I can't get with washcloth, I may use a Q-tip to come in. And the key is to keep changing out your items often, because you don't want to be trying to clean stuff with something that's dirty. You use it a little bit and then we change it out. So once we have all that done, a little more down in here. Yeah, that was pretty nasty. That solvent does its job when it just sits there. Okay, so there's that all wiped down. And we've got the little pin, like I said, that holds your slide in the barrel, and your double spring, and of course you have the barrel itself. Okay, now also wipe the gun down. This would be considered the gun. This is the main part. This is where the serial number is. So this is the part that they care about. I even shove this down in here, and sometimes, and pull it out the magazine chute just to make sure nothing's stuck in there. There is a spring in there, of course. So, all right, now that we've cleaned it, that's not where it ends, because you don't want it to rust. You don't want it to jam up. It's going to create a lot of friction. So again, I use the Hops or Hoppies number 9, and you don't need that awfully much of it, but I like to put it a little bit on the moving components. I put it down the slide a little bit. Okay, and where the trigger is. Might even give it a couple clicks there. Okay, and we're going to put some right on the double spring. Okay, and again on here on the slide. This is where stuff happens. Okay, now we're going to put the barrel back in. I'm going to put our pin back in. It's directional. It's got a little nipple on the end of it that goes through here, so you really can't do this wrong. I guess you could, but obviously I don't think it would work very well. Anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to slide it back together, slide it all the way past, lift up our slide lock, and you're going to take your pin and you're going to move your barrel so you can see it lined up in the hole there. Push your pin in and you can hear it click. Now your barrel's in, gun is empty. There we go. She's all set to go. Now once I do that, I like to slide it a little bit. Got lube everywhere. Make sure we're empty. Safe direction. Pull the trigger a couple times. Now I got that lube everywhere. And again, now we can wipe the outside of her down. And there always be a little film on the outside, which helps protect that. Okay. So there you have a cleaned Sccy, Sccy, CPX-2 9mm. The difference between the CPX-1 and the CPX-2 is the CPX-1 has a manual safety. The CPX-2 does not. Some people prefer a manual safety, some people don't like a manual safety, and some people don't care. See a little grid in these slide chafers. So that's it for that. We got the magazine. Once again, we are empty. And there you have a clean Sccy ready to go. Okay. So we're going to go over a couple other little things here. There's some ammunition that I've got for it at the moment. It happens to be Blazer. Works really well in the gun. I purchased Pro Mag speed loader. Now, I don't use it for speed. I just use it for loading, not necessarily for speed. When you're loading, sometimes this is a double stack magazine, so it can get a little tough when you're doing it. Especially, this is a 10-round magazine when you get 7 or 8 in there, okay? So, what this does, and it helps quite a bit, especially like right now I've got oily fingers from cleaning the gun. So I like to put one in, and then you can take this, you slide it right on there, you push it down, set a bullet on, slide it in. And that's how we keep these ready to go. And it just saves on the fingers a little bit. Don't have to have it. This one was cheaper than some of the nicer ones that you can buy, but it does just as good a job for what I'm doing. I'm not looking for a speed loader, just looking for a easier way to load and save your fingers. Okay, there's one. Go ahead and load the other one up. When the gun is just sitting here at the house, I like to keep 2 magazines full. I do not keep one in the chamber, and I do not keep the 2 magazines. Well, obviously you can't put both of them in the gun. I do not put a magazine in the gun. However, they are there next to the gun so that I can grab the gun, slam a magazine in it, chamber it, and I'm ready if there was something to happen. Okay, now I Also have this little case. You can pick these up for next to nothing, $5-6. It's nice to keep the gun in, keep the 2 magazines in there, and you keep it away from children. Okay. Now, one thing I do not have on the Sccy right now that it does come with is a trigger lock. I don't have a trigger lock on there because I do keep this readily available if I was to have an intruder, and I would not have time to undo that. So I do not put it on there, but I keep this up high away from children. Okay, so that is the basic cleanup of your Sccy. Once again, it is a nice firearm. Like it quite a bit. Picked it up for, oh, I don't know, $270, I think. I mean, you can't beat that for a quality firearm made in the USA. That's always a plus. So don't hesitate on the Sccy. You know, some people, they go see it and they're like, hey, that's only, you know, it's under $300, $250, $300, and I don't know, you know, that's a, you know, good gun or not. Well, it is. It's a quality made gun, and it is American made. You can't beat it. It's solid and shoots quite accurate for a subcompact, and for a concealed carry and home self-defense is a perfect weapon, and the price is unbelievable. So keep that in mind. Don't hesitate to go out and get you a Sccy. They're made in Daytona Beach, Florida. This is all they make, the CPX-1 and the CPX-2. I believe they even make their magazines. So the whole thing is built right down there in Daytona, Florida. Made in the USA. Check it out, guys. All right. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.